On the one hand, loss implies gains, and on the other hand, gain implies loss. I repeat, on the one hand, loss implies gains, and on the other hand, gains implies loss. Hello everyone, my name is Khalid and welcome to this presentation. In this presentation, I want to share knowledge on how prospect theory of behavioral economics can help you and your business grow. So request you to watch this presentation and hope you will find this presentation informative. The agenda for this meeting or for this presentation is in three areas. First is what is the meaning of prospect theory in behavioral economics. Number two, what is the historical background of this prospect theory? And in last, why there is a need to learn prospect theory and apply it in real business scenario. What is the process of applying prospect theory to build the business, to solve business problems? So this is about prospect theory and how it can be applied. I will explain you. Now first, coming to the point, what is the meaning of prospect theory and what exactly it is? Prospect theory basically describes how individuals assess their losses and gains in a asymmetric manner or asymmetric way. I repeat, prospect theory describes how individuals assess their gains and losses in an asymmetric way, which means how they look at their profits, how they look at their gains. This is what prospect theory will explain. Or maybe what is the psychology of individuals when they are doing business transactions and they face loss at a low level and when they get a profit. So this is all about prospect theory. It covers all these areas of psychology and financial aspects also. Now, the historical background of prospect theory I'm explaining you. It came from Daniel Kahneman and Prevsky in 1979. They both were Nobel Prize winner in 2002. Because of them, we got this theory. And this theory is very useful for people who like to explore, who like to experiment. And because of this theory, many organizations have benefited. Now, the idea behind prospect theory is that how this theory can be applied in modern business organizations, especially after COVID-19, how our business problems can be solved through using prospect theory. So I will explain how prospect theory can be useful to your business in a cost-effective way, how it can help in change management, how it can help in retaining your employees, and how it can increase your productivity of the employees. Now I'll explain you how prospect theory can be applied and learn from a graph. I will explain you with the help of a graph that how prospect theory is applied in real life scenario. As you can see over here on the graph, there is loss aversion and there is adaptation level as well. So in loss aversion part, the idea is people generally focuses on what they have lost, and rather than focusing on what they have gained, they focus on what they have lost, and compared to that, they never think about what they have achieved. Now in this, I will show you that the curve moves from this part to this part, and in this curve, the idea is from moving year to year, from the loss part to the gain part. Now, how you will move from the loss part to the gain part? That's the most important thing actually. Prospect theory explains that people have got a tendency to look at the losses compared to the gains. And this is the most different or unique point in this theory, is that when you look at your losses, then you ignore your profits or gains. So this theory explains that when this curve or this outlook move towards the gain part, like how you are looking on this part, the gain part, and just ignoring maybe the loss part, then what impact does it make in the change management, in the growth of the business organization? Like how you can refocus on the growth part, on the gain part. Maybe it can be less in percentage, but you should never ignore the main part, which is the profit part. The percentage can be less, the part can be less, but you should always focus on the gain part and avoid on the loss part. So this is what the loss aversion and adaptation level in this graph reflects. So the idea behind prospect theory is that when you are doing business, when you are dealing in any transaction, look at the positive side, look at the bright side of the business dealing. Don't look more into the negative aspects of the transactions. Maybe you are achieving, or maybe you're trying to achieve at a higher profit percentage. Maybe you want to maximize the profit percentage. Maybe you wanted to reduce the cost, but you have not achieved that target at that level. But still, you have improved. The business production has improved. The retention has improved. The quality of the product has improved. The quality of the service has improved. These are the better parts. These are the growth parts. These are the brighter side of the business, where people make mistakes, where people don't look at the brighter side of it. Prospect theory tells about that only. It describes about that only, that when you are focusing on the negative side, you tend to ignore the bright side, the positive side, the gain side of the business, because it is looking very small. But with the help of compounding, it can grow in future. You can develop that. That's what prospect or maybe prospecting comes in. That's what mind mapping comes in. That's what brainstorming comes in. That's what training and development comes in. This is the idea behind prospect theory. And as you can see in the graph, that it is showing that how you can move from your losses to gains just by changing a mindset, by changing to adaptation to new tools and techniques, maybe new softwares. So this is about how prospect theory can be applied. The last part of this presentation, which is the most important part in this presentation, is how the theory can be applied in real life business scenarios. How prospect theory can be applied in real life business scenarios. This is the most important aspect of this presentation. So I will explain you in 3 ways we can apply this theory into a real world business scenario to solve your business problems and increase the profit margins, increase the productivity. Now, first aspect in applying prospect theory is, first of all, it helps in management structure change project. Management structure change project is basically a way to identify what are the future risks of not changing. Prospect theory helps in identifying all the risks which are connected with not changing as per the demand of the business, as per the demand of the market. It tells that if the employees are resisting to change, then what will be the repercussions of not adapting to the change? What will be the consequences of not adapting to change? And if the employees, if the management trains them, counsels them to change, to adapt to change, to accept the change, then what will be the benefits of that adaptation of change? So this is the first part, is that change management should be welcome in the organization by the employees from lower level to the top senior leadership level, like from the the person who has joined recently in the organization to the senior most person in the organization. Everyone should appreciate the change. Everyone should accept the change in the organization. It can be a change, basic change, maybe a dress code, maybe learning a new coding language, maybe personality development professional courses, maybe coming on time, maybe making a to-do list, maybe making presentations or participating in conferences. So this is all about how the organization people are accepting to change management, learning new things, adapting new things. Second part of prospect theory, it helps in understanding opportunity to gain of more than 100%. Opportunity to gain more than 100% basically means that if you tell your employees, if you convince your employees that if you apply to the change, if you accept the change, the advantages will be 100% of what you have achieved so far. The advantages of accepting the change will be 100% of what you have achieved so far. So if the employees, if the management is convinced about that if the change is being adopted, if the structures are supporting the change, then there can be 100% more benefits of it when the change is being executed in the organization, when the change is functional in the organization. It can be a change of applying a software, it can be a change of discipline, it can be a change of leadership way, the way of doing things. Third part, and the most important part, is assessing projects to the optimist, or assigning the projects to the optimist. Assigning project to the optimist basically means that if the project is being assigned to a pessimist leader, if the project is being assigned to a pessimist person, the probability of getting success in that project will be less compared to giving that project to an optimist leader or optimist employee. So when the project is assigned to an optimist employee, when the project is being given to a person who really cares about the change management, who really value the prospect theory, who really understand the psychology of people, then the probability of success will be more. The probability or accepting the change and adapting to the change will be more. So give the projects to the people, to the leaders in the organization who are accepting the change, who are optimistic about the change, not the opposite. So I'm just revising what we have learned so far, what we have discussed so far. The prospect theory focuses on that individuals look more into the losses compared to the gains. So it helps you understand that we should look into both the aspects and not only look on the negative side or the loss side. Second, it came from Daniel Kahneman and Tversky. In 1979, they discovered this theory, and in 2002, they got a Nobel Prize for getting this discovery of this theory, prospect theory, and which is very much useful and applicable in 21st century, especially after COVID-19. The use of this theory is in three areas: how the management structure can be changed, and how the management can accept or adapt to change management, how management can convince the employees by getting 100% benefit of what they have achieved so far, and in last, assigning the project to an optimist person, to a practical person, to a positive person, so that the probability of making that change happen increases. So this is the overall scenario or overall concept of prospect theory. If you need more explanation on this topic, if you have got a doubt in this topic that whether this theory will work in your organization or not, please do revert back to me. I will be very happy to answer all your questions, and I'm really thankful to you to watch this presentation. Have a nice day ahead.